really wouldn't take you very long if you're into precision rifle shooting or if you're into long range shooting to figure out that sometimes you might have to bed the rear part of the base. Remington 700s are round, and you find that issue with all kinds of bases. If you do have a base and you want to save some money, or if you just want a night force or whatever type of base, not saying you're going to find that in every situation, but if you do want to bed that base, I'm going to show you guys how to do that on this Remington 700 clone. This is a Bergara, but it's basically just a Remington 700 action. So this base right here fits a Remington 700 short action. So if you have one or even a long action, you will be able to use the same method to figure out how to do that. This is a Night Force base, really nice quality base. It's steel and it's very strong. But as we torque down the front screws, we push this forward because the recoil lug here, when we push that forward and we tighten these down, we notice there's a gap right back here. You'll see it right there. If you don't have this right, even though it is steel, when you go to put your mounts on here, you'll notice that it's not going to line up perfectly right. So what that means is when you put your scope main tube up here, that's going to be bending as well, or could have unnecessary stress on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bed the rear of the base here with steel JB Weld epoxy. That stuff is very strong, and many people have used it, including myself, over the years with success. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. All right, so this is what we're going to be using. You can use the quick steel weld as well, but it's not going to have as high a tensile strength. But this is what we're going to be using. It's a slow but strong bond. So to keep the base in action from permanently bonding themselves to one another, we're going to use a release agent, cotton swabs to clean up everything. We're also going to be using alcohol. You can use acetone, or you can use gun scrubber, old modeling clay I had for a bedding job. You can use this, or you can use Play-Doh, whatever works best for you. Shop towels are also tough and they're good for cleanup. So we're gonna scuff up the bag just a little bit so it will hopefully adhere just a little bit better. So we've applied the Johnson's Kiwi shoe polish, and we've also rolled up a shop towel here for added protection. We're gonna plug these holes with modeling clay. You can use Play-Doh as well. So you're going to apply the Kiwi shoe polish with your finger. All you're going to do is just brush it on like that. The camera's going to try to blur out, but anyways, that's how you do that. You're going to let it dry as well. Don't try to put the JB Weld on directly. What you do is you just mix this up. You just kind of work them in together. It's the black and white, which will obviously make a gray. So you just mix that up. So you don't need a lot. What you're going to do is let this harden up just a little bit. It's easier to work with. It won't drip as much, and that's a very good thing when you're going to apply this to the base, because if it's dripping, it'll get on the sides and things like that. So what you want to do is just lay this evenly across the base. Try not to get the holes, but if you get the holes, it's okay because we have those plugged up as well. Evenly distributed on the rear base part. You want it even and not big globs. As you'll see here, we had to remove some excess. You should be able to see in here as well. That's just excess JB Weld that spills out the side. That's kind of what you want to see. You want it to look nice and even once you're finished. So hopefully this will show you guys a little bit of what to expect. One more thing, when you put the base down on the receiver, you want to go from the front first. So push this one down on this side, push it down a little bit, keep this elevated in the back, start the screw in the front. As you do that, make sure that it's pushed forward as well so you get all of the movement out of it. That's going to have that recoil lug hit the receiver here. Once you do that, then bring the rear part down. And once you get all that cleaned up like it is right here, what you're going to do is you're going to wait about 4 to 5 hours. I would say about 4 hours, and then you'll remove the lightly torqued screws. We took this off and we chamfered a little bit around the holes here. We also cleaned out where the putty was in there. Light gray finish to it. Should look nice and even like that. We have everything tightened up to spec. We're going to wait 24 hours. All right, so now after 24 hours, we're going to remove this. As you can see right here, it's very smooth. There is one spot towards the front that did not turn out that smooth, and what that was, and you're seeing, you cannot actually feel that. What that was is from the paper towel when I was cleaning it off earlier. Had a little bit of putty there. I removed it, but it's very smooth. That's not going to bother you. You can't even detect it hardly. It's just a little bit off on the finish, but it's a very smooth finish overall. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean up all this. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use thread locker. This is the AN222, and this comes in the Wheeler kit. This goes a long ways. You don't need a lot of this stuff, and this is the purple looking Loctite as well. It's not the red. The red is more permanent. For removing the putty, you can use a 22 brush, especially when you kind of push down on the bristles here, get it a little bit smaller. You might even be able to use a, what is it, the 17 HMR 17 caliber brush if you have one of those, but the 22 is not bad as well. You can kind of scrape inside, get that cleaned up as we have it on here. So once you have that ready to go, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Ballistol. This is a multi-purpose lubricant cleaner. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on here where we're not going to touch for a long time. Just put that on there. We'll go ahead and get the receiver. Okay, so we get that on there. So we hit the base with a little bit of Hornady One Shot. This is a dry lubricant. We're going to use the Wheeler fat wrench to tighten this down to 25 inch-pounds, which I've already done off screen. I'm going to show you guys the sequence. We're going to start here on 2. We're going to move to 4. We're going to move to 1. And we're going to move to 3. Tighten it down. Once you hear it click, you're good to go. Keep this pressed forward because recoil travels to the rear. Once you have all that, you should be in good shape. So hopefully you've learned something from the scope bedding process. It's a fairly easy one if you take your time and pay attention to detail. It's not that bad, and it really does pay off because you're not putting any unnecessary stress on your scope base or your scope. That's the main part, because we do tracking tests, and with long range, we want to make sure that everything is accounted for. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.